Welcome to the Action Network Podcast Buckets Edition, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. My name's Matt Moore. I'm the senior NBA writer for the Action Network. I'm joined by the one and only NBA futures analyst, Brandon Anderson. You know him well from this feed where he covers the NFL all throughout the season. And we're going to give you a big rundown for the NBA playoffs opening weekend. We're going to cover series. We're going to cover futures bets. We're going to cover all of that and more. If you want to hear more about the NBA playoffs, make sure to check out Buckets. We've got podcasts 5 days a week. Did all throughout the regular season, so you know we're doing it for the playoffs. We have best bets on the daily for all of the games. Get you set with 24 hours in advance so you can evaluate those lines, not just sides and totals. We do props, we do angles, we do futures, we do all of it. Make sure to check it out over on the Buckets feed. It's been absolutely killer this season. Read the reviews. I promise you will love Buckets. But on today's show, we'll start, Brandon. I'll let you take the reins on this one, and I appreciate you putting this together with a little format here. We're going to start with Cavs Knicks. It's one of the absolute most captivating series, the 4-5 in the Eastern Conference. The Cavaliers favored in this series, but there's been a lot of movement in the market, I believe, on the Knicks. It's a very popular pick. I'm curious to know what your thoughts are on it. What's your best bet for Cavs Knicks?
I am taking the Knicks here, but I'm going to take them against the spread in the series. So give me Knicks plus 1.5, laying a little bit of juice here. I think this series goes long. The Knicks are a flawed team. You're going to tell me exactly just how flawed they are, I'm sure. So I won't make that case for them. I think both of these teams are flawed. The Cavs are a young team. They haven't been here before. They lost out of the play-in last year. They lack depth. They beat up on a lot of bad teams this season. So I'm all about the net ratings and the SRSs and all the advanced metrics. But this season, the Cavs had 16 wins by 16 or more points. Only 3 of those were against a team that finishes a top 7 seed in either conference, all 3 of which were basically resting the whole team. So that's great. It's important to win those games. We always talk about in the regular season, you got to win those games, and they blew teams out. Outside of those games, though, they were very average. They're 29-4 against sub 500 teams. That is pristine. They're 21-26 against teams above 500, 19-22 on the road. If you look at just games, when was it a close game? Single digit game outcome either way. The top 3 in the East, Philly, Boston, Milwaukee, 82-40 in those games. So even when it was a close-ish game, they still got the job done. Cleveland was 18-20, just a very average sort of team. I think this is a Spider-Man meme series, right? I think these are both flawed teams. You can't just out-rebound and out-effort and out-bench in the playoffs. You're going to tell me that about the Knicks. It's true. I just think it's true about the Cavaliers too. And as much as we look at New York and say it's Tibbs, we know how this goes. I think the Cavs might actually be the Tibbs caricature. The defense, the effort, the maxed out profile. I think it's Cleveland. I'm not going all in on New York to win the series. I do think it goes long. Give me the Knicks plus 1.5.
Very rare, honestly, because your record is very good on futures, and it's very rare. Like usually I'm on this pod, I'm pretty well, I can see why you get there. I don't agree. You're way off here. How are you on the Knicks here? How are you on the Knicks? Starting off, let's do basically straight up numbers. When Tom Thibodeau's teams have been a dog in the playoffs, 6-22 straight up. 6-22. You're also not giving the Cavs enough credit here. So pull these numbers up while you were talking. This season, when the Cavaliers are favored versus teams over 500, you talked about they just beat up on the bad teams. 23-9 straight up versus teams that are over 500 when they are favored. That's since 2000. That's in the last 2 seasons. Also, when we look at these kind of numbers and how they've gone, because quite honestly, there hasn't been a lot of those in the last couple of years for the Cavs. It's been a recent development for them. This season, by the way, that's 16-6 this season. That was since 2020-21. This season, 16-6, 73% straight up versus teams over 500, 13-9 against the spread. They don't just win, they cover, Brandon. They cover those games too. This season, when they're favored versus teams with a 60% winning percentage or better, 5-2, 4-3 straight up. The Cavs are good versus everybody. The SRS really favors the Cavaliers, and I understand why you're they beat up on the bad teams, But the problem is like SRS factors in strength of schedule. If that's factored in, then the Cavs still come out really well on all these metrics. They're a much better team. Second, you go back to the regular season series where the Knicks won. They won with the bench. You mentioned that. Like, they're a much deeper team. That matters if there's injuries. If there's injuries, I'm going to agree with you. If Jared Allen's groin acts up, I'm going to have to go ahead and hedge out and bet the Knicks. If Isaac Okoro gets hurt, I'm going to have to hedge out and bet the Knicks. Donovan Mitchell, Darius, maybe not Darius Garland. He's awesome, but they can get by without him. Evan Mobley, same kind of deal. But if the Cavs are healthy, their starters dominated this matchup. Dominated. The Knicks starters got destroyed. Is Obi Toppin playing 45 minutes? Because that's how it's Obi Toppin and Isaiah Hartenstein that won them the regular season series. Are those guys playing 45 minutes? If they are, then sure, I'll bet the Knicks, but they're not going to play. They're not going to play that much. I don't trust Tibbs. Bickerstaff may not be as good of a coach. Cavs fans have a lot of questions. I think JB is going to do just fine. My best bet for this series is absolutely Cavaliers -1.5. You can get that FanDuel at a plus number. For them to win in 6 or fewer is plus 104. The last time we saw this New York Knicks team, and I know Jalen Brunson's there now, that does change things, but the last time that we saw this New York Knicks team in the playoffs, it was a sad trombone. Wah, 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 wah. Including Julius Randle, who shot 42% from 3 in the regular season series versus the Cavs when he shot 33% from 3 during the regular season. Outlier games. This is like the Cavs are going to dominate this matchup. They're a much better team. I like Cavs in 5 or less. I'll lay them -1.5 plus 104. Response?
Yeah, I mean, we're head to head on it. I don't disagree with a lot of that. Your numbers are very good there. The Cavs are a very good team. I don't think the last Knicks team is super relevant here. That was a totally different profile team. I know it seems very similar, but you look at the ratings. Offensively, the Knicks are a top 3 offense in the NBA. I don't know how. I don't understand it, but the numbers are the numbers. They are what they are. Last time the Knicks were here, it's because the defense was super elite, but suspicious, but the offense was not good. That's the Tibb profile. That's how these teams do. This is a different version of that team since December 4th, when the Knicks finally got rid of Fournier and Rose and all the guys and settled on the right rotation. They're 37-20, top 10 on defense, top 3 on offense. Only 4 double-digit losses. I don't know if the Knicks will win the series. I don't. Maybe they won't. Maybe the Cavs win. Maybe they win still somewhat comfortably. Only 4 double-digit losses means I think we're just going to get a lot of close games, a lot of tight games. To me, I'm betting on variance. I'm betting on close games, unreliable teams, variance. And here's the one thing I'm betting on, but it might be the flaw in the ointment for me. Knicks +1.5 says we can't get to game 6 and the Cavs come to Madison Square Garden and end the season for New York. Well, Donovan Mitchell would sure love to do that. For the team that did not trade for him, that will be terrifying if we get there. But that is part of my cap. That's why I'm on the Knicks. I think it's going to be my favorite series to watch, though.
Knicks, by the way, not great at home this season, either against the spread or straight up. Not a lot of home court advantage there for them. Move on to Grizz Lakers. The money's come in on Memphis in this series. This is much closer on Tuesday night when the Lakers won the play-in game versus the Wolves to lock it. Grizzlies now -136 on the series line, +116 for the Lakers to win straight up. The series spread in this one, Grizzlies -1.5 is +172. Lakers +1.5 is -215. Tells you a lot about where this market is at. Brandon, what's your best bet for Grizz Lakers?
This is the one series of everything we got them just taking a team, taking a side. Just give me the Lakers. Lakers +116. Give me Los Angeles. You're going to hear this a lot here. I don't think that we can put as much stock anymore to the season-long profiles of these teams. Regular season is long. We are playing long regular seasons, and teams are changing up a lot. They're resting guys. And in the Lakers' case, they got a complete makeover in the middle of the year. They brought in Jared Vanderbilt. They brought in D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley. They totally changed the roster. By the way, addition by subtraction on Russell Westbrook and a few guys. Since they brought those guys, February 11th forward, LA, +4.5 net rating, 6th best in the NBA. They're 2nd in defensive rating. They're 1st in defensive effective field goal percentage. The effectively are the Grizzlies. If you take the Grizzlies, the entire season profile, that is almost exactly what the Lakers have been since February 11th. The difference is that the Lakers have a man named LeBron James and a second one named Anthony Davis. So I think the Lakers are peaking right now. The Grizzlies are going the other direction. The Grizzlies have no Steven Adams. That's bad. They have no Brandon Clark. That's worse when you're missing both of them. They, since March 3rd, when those guys have both been out, dropped from a top 5 offensive rebounding team to a bottom 5 offensive rebounding team. They dropped from 2nd in defensive EFG to 16th league average. So I think these are teams moving in opposite directions. The Lakers did not look the part the other night, but they are peaking as a team compared to what they've been. They've been top 10 rebounding since the trade. They're going to get to the line all series long. I think this is the absolute right matchup for LA and not the one the Grizzlies wanted. Give me the Lakers.
I'm with you. I like the Lakers in the series plus 116. The Brandon Clark thing cannot be overstated. It just cannot be built enough. The best lineup for the Grizzlies from a playoff perspective is to go to Brandon Clark, switch all, small ball. It provides good spacing. It allows them to still maintain a domination on the glass. We saw that last year versus the Wolves. The Grizzlies can beat you. They can make up for some of their half-court deficiencies with just hustle. Can't do that without Brandon. Now, Luke Kennard's changed the profile a little bit for the Grizzlies, which is one of the reasons why I'm softening a little bit on this, but I still like the Lakers enough. The Grizzlies half-court offense jumped considerably after they got Luke Kennard. They went to top 10. Luke Kennard threes is going to be a huge factor in this series. Can Luke Kennard consistently buoy that offense? If Taylor Jenkins approaches this as, it depends on what the identity of Memphis is. Okay. Yeah. If Memphis goes in there and says, look, guys, we lost Brandon Clark, we lost Steven Adams, Jaren's probably going to be in foul trouble. We're going to have to beat this team with offense. They can win because you can just outperform the Lakers from 3-point range. The Grizzlies are really inconsistent in this factor. They just are very inconsistent. It was funny. I mentioned on Twitter, I was the 2 most important for the series on the Memphis side are Desmond Bane and Luke Kennard. And everybody's like, it's Ja, thanks. I'm like, no, Ja's going to do what Ja does. Ja's going to have some games where he's amazing and awesome. And he puts up 35 and 8 assists. And he's going to have some games where he really struggles and he can't finish at the rim because he doesn't have a reliable pull-up jumper. And it's going to be pretty tough for him. It's going to be there will be good games and bad games from Ja, but you can count on Ja's production to a certain floor. Bane and Kennard are just going to have to hit threes. I'll be on the lookout for, I will say this. I like the Lakers plus 116 because they get them at a plus number. If the Grizzlies had popped as a plus number, I would have bet Memphis. I do think that the series goes long. I really like the series over number of games. That to me is a really good bet too, is to take the over at 5.5 or 6.5. Or if you want to go the other way, just bet both sides for this to go in 7. It's the same number, but that to me is the best angle possible because the way you feel about the Knicks Cavs series going long, I don't think that this series it's neither team has enough adjustments for them to get the edge and really twist the knife on the other. This is going to be a battle game by game. It's going to be more about performance than it is about adjustments, I think, as the series goes on.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think if I try to make the case in my head for the Grizzlies, I actually feel like it's a shorter series if it's Memphis. They're just too fast, too athletic, too deep, and they just kind of run the Lakers off. And LeBron is not healthy, and Anthony Davis picks up a hangnail, and we just kind of end things quickly. That's how it goes in my head, but I also don't think that's happening. I'm on the Lakers. The one thing I will say, I'm not fully on the Lakers just yet because I like the Lakers, or I like the Grizzlies a lot in game 1. We've talked about that on buckets. LeBron is 3-14 straight up in road game 1s in the playoffs for his career. So I like the Lakers here, but let's do the math. If the Grizzlies go up game 1 and are up 1-0, we're going to get a better number on the Lakers later. So I will buy the price now, but I probably will do a half unit and then look to add more at what should be a better number if that's true. I just think LeBron kind of solves some of the gimmicks of this team. One more number for you here, some net ratings. LeBron and Anthony Davis this season, when they're on the court together, plus 5.5 from Pivot Analysis. When you add in either Austin Reeves or Jared Vanderbilt, and I know you're thinking, well, who cares? It's just LeBron. It's just Davis. Those are the stars. Reeves and Vanderbilt are the guys that unlock this team. They're the glue guys that do all the other stuff. Add either one of them, and we go LeBron, Davis, and one of them, plus 20 net rating. Add them both, plus 25.8. So every 100 possessions, we're up 26 points. Every 4 possessions, the Lakers with those 4 guys are gaining a point on you. Every 4 times up and down the court. It's not a huge number, but I think the Lakers have found some things and actually have a real chance here.
All right, let's move on to Kings Warriors, the 3-6 in the Western Conference. The Warriors, a favorite. How insulting to the beam, as the Golden State Warriors are favorites in this series versus the 3-seed Sacramento Kings. Warriors, obviously one of the worst teams that we've ever had in the playoffs on the road. We've never really had a team, at least since I've been covering the league, that's been this bad on the road in the playoffs. Warriors minus 280 on the series line. Kings plus 230 series spread. Warriors minus 1.5 is minus 150, so to win in 6 or fewer. Kings plus 1.5 at plus 122. What's your best bet for Kings Warriors?
So I'm going to get a little creative with this one. I'm going to stay away from all of those. I'm going to do a what's the series look like after 3. Give me Warriors to have a 2-1 series lead. We're at plus 120 on that one. So I like the Warriors early in the series. That has been a very good position to be on for this entire run of titles, dynasty, whatever we want to call it. The Warriors early in the series, you and I have talked about this a lot. Defenses don't know what to do. It just takes a while to catch up and figure this out. And I know they're in the division. They've played plenty of times. Mike Brown knows what's coming with Golden State, but it's one thing to know. It's another thing to actually have to play against it. The whirring motion, the cuts, the back cuts, the Steph moving, and then suddenly the shot, he's still going, and the shots, just all of it. There's nothing like, when you're watching, that the Warriors are different than everything else, and it just takes some time. Game 1s, starting that title year, Warriors are 21-3 straight up in game 1s. So for all the hype and all the light at the beam and all the Kings stuff, I think that the Warriors are going to go in and steal one of these games in Sacramento. Is it stealing when you're the favorite? Maybe just taking it. I don't know. So I like the Warriors early. Warriors are going to win the series with 2s. If they win, it's going to be because of the 2s. The Kings defense allows the 4th most 2-pointers in the league at a bad percentage for them. The Warriors lead the league in assists. The Kings give up the 3rd most assists. I think all that movement, all that motion, we're going to focus on all the 3s, both sides, lots of 3s and all the shot variants, but the Warriors are going to get a lot of easy stuff. 2s are easy points if you get cuts and layups at the rim. In the Kings games this season, 4 times against the Warriors, Golden State made 59% of their 2s. That is 1.19 point per possession. That's a layup line. And that is going to go very well for the Warriors. I like the 2-1 series lead. I think they get up early. I have a weird feeling overall about the series, so I'm not going to play the whole series odds. I'm just going to take the plus 120 and get the early series lead, and then maybe jump in again from there.
I'm more bold on this than you are. I'm a little bit, I'm more confident. I went into the series expecting to want to play Kings. I was like, the market's undervalued, and the market is undervaluing Sacramento. Like, the Kings are too big of dogs on the series baseline to win the series. When I did the work on it, I think there's value on the Warriors to win this series convincingly. I don't think that there's value on the Warriors to win the series at the number that they're at. I think there's value on the Warriors to win the series convincingly. So that's what I'm going to bet. I'm taking the minus 1.5 at the minus 150. I'm playing an alternate minus 2.5 on the alternate spread score. That number is actually plus 198. So you see like how the market is shaping this, which is we think the Warriors win. We think they win. We strongly feel that they win in 6. Like that's what the market at FanDuel is saying is we feel very confident in Golden State winning, and we feel very confident in them winning in less than 7 games. It's not going to go 7. We like them to win in 6. But when you go any further from that, that's when they're like, we don't think that that's the books are very strongly telling you that they don't believe that the Kings that the Warriors are going to allow. They think that the Warriors will let them win at least 2 games, right? That's what they're saying. I don't think so. Season series, Steph dominated this matchup. Plus 15 in a net rating. Domantas Sabonis was a minus 17 when he was on the floor. The splits for when Steph and Domas were on the floor together, you could probably expect they're very, 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 very bad. You have a player like that, and this is actually a shift from who Golden State was back in like 15-16. 15-16, Steph wouldn't necessarily pick on those matchups. He didn't do that as much. They just ran their stuff because the Warriors were strength in numbers and they really believed in the system. This team in particular is a little bit more, we'll pick on you. Like they did that last year where they were just like, we're going to run step, pick and roll at you over and over and over again. They will do that versus the Kings, and the Kings will lose those minutes, and the Warriors will play heavier minutes. The Warriors starters are going to have to play heavier minutes. It's one of the reasons why I'll tell you I'm off of Warriors futures is I think that they're going to be exhausted by the time that this run is over. But I do think they're going to take care of business here. I don't see any way. I think it's very likely that Golden State shows up. The defense is way better. We talked about this on the Buckets pod. The starting lineup, their road defensive numbers are really good. A lot of the numbers are just based off of the bench. They won't play as much. The starters will play more. The Warriors will win. The Warriors will win in 5, I think. So I'm going to take the -2.5. I'll take the -1.5 as a hedge just in case I'm wrong. But I do believe that the Warriors are going to win the series in definitely less than 7. I'm backing what the number, like I'm basically betting into what the market is telling us that they believe. I'll lay the -150, but I'll also take the -2.5 at +198. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of warning signs here for the Kings. We talked on Buckets about the starters versus the bench. The Kings are a team that put up big bench numbers during the year, but we get shorter rotations in the playoffs. Kings were maybe the healthiest team among all these playoff teams. So that's a maxed out profile that tells us maybe like, well, but they're the 3 seed. The Kings are the 3 seed. How are they not getting more credit? Well, the 3 seed is pretty weak this year. The Sixers are the 3 seeds. Anyone think the Kings are the Sixers? No, nobody thinks that. So don't pretend like 3 seed means a thing. This is a weak 3 seed in a weak conference and probably got boosted by the healthy team and the record against sub 500 teams. Again, I think the Kings to stay around in the series, the Warriors offense, when they actually get a shot up, is even better than the Kings. And the Kings, by the way, are the number 1 offense. So that's pretty good, better than number 1. The Kings have to win on rebounding, win on turnovers. That's the way that they stay in this. I think they can. I think they can get those edges. We've seen the Warriors be very prone to making those mistakes. So I see the red flags. I'm trusting my gut on this one that feels something a little off here. I just feel like we're going to get some wild, wonky games, and I think it's a longer series because of that. But I see your case. I think it's definitely possible that we just get a quick exit here for the Kings.
Let's go to Suns Clippers. What's your best bet for Suns Clippers?
So I'll keep this very easy. My best bet for Suns Clippers is don't bet. Don't bet the Suns. Don't bet the Clippers. Don't bet game 1. Don't bet the series. Don't bet title futures. And look, don't bet is not a cop-out. Don't bet sometimes is the right bet. I think we know way less about either one of these teams than we will admit to ourselves. Kevin Durant has played 6.8% of Phoenix's minutes for the season. Kevin Durant is 18th on the Suns in minutes for the season. We don't know anything about the Suns. Somehow Kawhi Leonard is in a series where we feel like we know more about his team than the other team. Mr. Hypothetical. I don't think we know. Does Kawhi Leonard finals MVP? Is that still there? I don't know. Is Kevin Durant God mode still there? Is he rested and ready to go? I don't know. Is PG going to play? I don't know. Can the Suns defend against real teams? I don't know. We haven't seen any of that stuff yet. Sometimes the right bet can be to watch. It's a long playoffs, man. We got 2 months. One of these teams, whoever comes out, is going to be very dangerous. So we're going to look at title odds and futures odds and everything. I have a lot to learn. I can't wait to watch. We finally get Durant versus Kawhi, which never happens. I want to watch. I'm going to learn. I'm not going to bet it.
Coward. My best bet's over 5.5 games played. Find that in the market. It's actually -110. So you can get even money for this to go 6 games either way. I lean Clippers +2.5, which is, you have to lay some juice on it. That number at FanDuel Sportsbook +2.5 is -132. I'd rather just play the 110 because I don't think the Clippers +2.5 factors in like, well, what if the Clippers win in 4 or 5? And to me, I'm like, no, that's not happening. Clippers are not going gentlemen sweep the Phoenix Suns, who are undefeated with Kevin Durant. I don't believe that this market accurately is describing the Clippers. This is a good matchup for them. If they had Paul George, I would be betting the Clippers straight up. If Paul George gets announced and if they make a surprise, Paul George is back for game 4. If it's not 3-0 Suns, I'll be betting the Los Angeles Clippers to win the series. The Clippers have a lot more options. This is the base of it. You got Book and you got CP3 and you got Durant, and usually the better team wins the series. So I think the Suns win the series because they have those three, and they're going to win the series because Paul George is out. All of the matchup stuff goes to the Clippers. The Clippers can switch. The Suns can't. They don't have that versatility anymore. They got rid of their ability to go small. They can't do that. It's going to be Bismack Biyombo and DeAndre Ayton on the floor all the time. If that's a problem, if Ayton is dominating that matchup, the Clippers do have the ability to go big. They have Mason Plumlee, and if he's a Zubac, I like both of those guys in the matchup versus Ayton. I'm not worried about Ayton. They can switch on the perimeter 1 through 4. They can navigate all of this. They have long defenders to bother guys like Chris Paul. Devin Booker and Kevin Durant are going to get theirs, but it's going to come down to those other guys: Josh Okogie, Torrey Craig, Landry Shamet, Damian Lee, who shot the lights out this year, by the way. I'll be looking for Damian Lee 3-point props. All those guys are going to have to be the ones that carry them. The Clippers are going to shoot more threes. They've got the math advantage because the Suns shoot almost none. They're mid-range shooters. They're elite mid-range shooters, but they're mid-range shooters. So like matchup wise, I have to take the number of what I learned last year with Wolves Grizzlies was if you have a huge matchup advantage that you see on paper, but you know the other team is better, don't bet that the underdog to win. Just bet them to hang. So plus 2.5, I think has good value at FanDuel Sportsbook, but I like even better over 5.5 games minus 110. Save the extra 30 cents. That allows for a 4-2 Suns win. That feels about right to me. I'll take over 5.5 games minus 110.
I like it. I'm just going to ask one question, and I don't have an answer to this, so it's okay if you don't. My answer is I'm going to wait and see. As a bettor, what is your preferred outcome for this series? Not obviously you want your bet to win, but looking ahead to the next 2 months, because one of these teams is going to be a factor. We're going to probably play the Nuggets next. What do you want to bet on regarding one of these teams? Who do you want to come out of this so that you can bet something else later?
I have a very, very, very big number on the Nuggets to win the title from very, very, very early in the preseason. I have a very, very, very big number on the Suns that I got right after the finals. So that side of the bracket, I'm honestly fine on. I want the Suns to win because I think whoever wins whoever wins second round is probably, I think, winning the Western Conference. There are other numbers I've taken because you know me, I'm always going to have a million positions. But to me, I don't want to have it be if Suns go out, that's a bad outcome for me because I have a big allotment from the last month of Suns Celtics finals matchup. So that's my
okay. I'll give an answer. Actually, I think that I prefer that Phoenix wins because I don't believe yet in this team as a championship team. I'm skeptical of the defense in particular. I'm skeptical of the health holding up, but everybody believes, the market believes in Phoenix. So I think that I want Phoenix to go ahead and win the series. The longer they stick around, the better prices I have to get on the other teams I actually want to bet on. So I think that's the better outcome for me.
All right. We're going to hit one other series that you're making a bet on. You got 60 seconds. What's another bet you're making a bet on in the playoffs?
My favorite series bet of the first round. Give me the Celtics minus 2.5. You got to lay a little bit of juice, but
what a hater.
It's going to be a quick series. The Celtics are the best team in the field. I think they're the deepest team. They're well-rounded. They can win on offense. They win on defense. They got 6 or 7 guys that can win any night. The Hawks are going to get killed with math. They take a ton of twos. The Celtics are great at 2-point defense. They're not efficient offense or defense. Boston ranks near the top of the league in those things. Atlanta is dead last in 3-point attempt rate. Boston is top 5 in attempts and percentage. They're going to win with threes. 3 is greater than 2. Boston scored with a 129 offensive rating in the 2 games that were meaningful between these teams this year. So I think this is a walkover. I also am not just going to play the minus 2.5. That means Celtics in 5 or less. I'm going to give Quinn Snyder and Atlanta possibly a game, but I'm going to play the Celtics sweep too. I'll play a little bit of the plus 280 for the sweep. If we get Boston up 2-0, which I'm certainly counting on with this bet, if we go to Atlanta and get the 3rd game, with all the stuff Atlanta's gone through this year, the Trae Young rumors already starting up, I think we're a 1-2-3 Cancun in a hurry. So I would take the sweep as well, but I expect Boston to make quick work of the Hawks. I don't know any avenue where Atlanta wins 2 games in this series. Give me Boston minus 2.5.
We don't have numbers for this yet. We're recording this on Thursday afternoon, and the playing games are Friday night. whoever wins the East 8 seed playing game between the Heat and the Bulls, I'll bet Bucks sweep. I'm gonna have to lay juice on it, and I'm fine on that. They probably won't give me a deep number on it, but I'm gonna lay it because I don't think either of these teams are even in the stratosphere of Milwaukee. Don't love Milwaukee long term right now. I'm very much in on the Celtics right now, but I do think Milwaukee, I think, is the team that's going to sweep. I have more confidence in them than Boston. Okay, we've got one conference or title picks. We're talking about futures now. What's your best bet for a conference or title pick?
I'm going to take the East. I'm going to take the whole East. Give me the Eastern Conference to win the title. It's at -130. Now, this is a very anti-Brandon pick. I usually love my long shots here. Don't worry. I got one more for you before we get out of here. But I wrote about parity on Action Network. I've got a couple articles up. What do we do when we look at the West and say, what in the world? There are all these decent middling teams. There's no elite team out here. What happens? Who comes out of the West? I don't really know, to be honest. I don't think you know. I don't think anyone knows. History says that the seeding usually holds up. So usually it's these teams at the top, even if they're weaker top seeds. But history overwhelmingly says whoever it is, it doesn't matter. Whoever comes out, they lose in the finals to the team from the better conference. That's the whole point. The best 3 teams in the NBA, I think, are all in the East right now. Celtics, Bucks, clearly 1 and 2 for me. Even with my Sixers hate, Matt, I still think they're probably the 3rd best team. They're just 3rd best in their own conference too. Any of those 3 teams, one of them is going to be in the finals, and they will have home court advantage. That means game 1 at home. That means that I'm going to have a longer odds if I wait and bet the finals, whoever it is. I'm not getting a -130 then. I'm going to get something longer than -130. So just give me a blind right now. Whoever the finals is, I'll take the Celtics, the Bucks, or the Sixers because I'm not getting a -130 later. They're the teams I like. The West teams are flawed. They've got a longer, harder path ahead. All these first round matchups. We think these 3 East teams might sweep or get close in the first round. Keep it easy. I'll add later. I like Celtics. I like Bucks. I'll do a fancy escalator approach thing like I do, but just give me the East. I think the East wins the finals. That's what history says happens here.
I like Celtics to beat Suns finals matchup, exact outcome. That gets you plus 1,400. That's a longer shot. Look, the Suns haven't lost with Kevin Durant. They're the best team in the conference. They're priced appropriately as the favorite. I have questions about Denver's floor. I think Denver can win that matchup with Phoenix. I think they can win. I don't know if they will. Phoenix has to be favored. I like Phoenix to beat whoever they're going to face in a conference finals, even if it's Golden State, because I think Golden State's going to be tired. Boston, I really like this lay for them. The Sixers have never been able to beat them. I really think that this Celtics team is by margin better than everyone else in the East. I think there's actually this idea of it being very close. The more I've kind of looked at it, I really do think the Celtics are a significant step ahead. The numbers bear that out, that the Celtics are just better than everybody else. So I'm willing to go ahead and right now I'm getting my money in pre-flop with the best hand. I'm betting on aces here. I'm betting Suns, Celtics. I'm betting Celtics to beat the Suns at plus 1,400 because if I'm right and we get there, the Suns are gonna be the ones that are dogs. So I come back on the other side. Phoenix loses game 1. I'll bet back on Phoenix at that point to hedge profit. I'm a profile better. You'll find it out if you listen to Buckets. So I got a lot of options here. But right now, if you're looking to bet one thing and you're looking for a juicy number, that 1,400 is a good one. Now, before we get out of here, one finals or conference MVP pick. Excited to hear this from you. I have mine. Go ahead and lay it on me. What's your conference or finals MVP pick?
All right. You wanted the long shot. I got to give my long shot bet here to wrap up. Matt, you'll never believe this, but everything is coming up Lakers. Give me LeBron James plus 1,500 Western Conference Finals MVP. This is the dream Lakers draw. We have talked on Buckets ad nauseum for weeks, for months. Who gets the weaker half of the bracket in the West? Who gets the dream draw? And then on top of it, the Grizzlies lost Steven Adams and lost Brandon Clark. We did the whole matchup thing. I love the matchup for the Lakers in that series. Then you get the Kings or the Warriors in the second round. Look, the Warriors are the champs, but this is not last year's team. Let's be real. And the Kings are the Kings. Kings, Lakers, we've seen that one a couple of times. The Suns are on the other half. The Nuggets are on the other half. Kawhi is on the other half of the bracket. This is the perfect outcome. The Lakers could not have drawn it up any better for themselves. It's a weak conference. Hey, have I ever seen a weak conference before where LeBron comes out and makes the finals? I've seen that like 700 times. This is what happens in the NBA, Matt. LeBron makes the finals. Everything's coming up Lakers. Here's why I have to bet this. The Lakers, depending on where you look, are priced around plus 700, plus 800 to win the West. LeBron's plus 1,500 to be the MVP when that happens. I'm sorry, you're telling me that we're really going to give Anthony Davis MVP in the Western Conference Finals? There's a trophy for an MVP type thing, and we're not going to give it to LeBron, the team that just won? Get all the way out of here. LeBron is the MVP if the Lakers win. It's double the odds here. If the Lakers win the conference and make the finals, it has to be because LeBron has a better gear than we saw the other night. It has to be that. Give me LeBron 15-1. Everything's coming up Lakers. Let's go LeBron.
I bet Anthony Davis finals MVP 4,200. That's not my best bet, but I'll just tell you, I think it's entirely possible. This is the passing the torch season. If the Lakers win, it's going to have to be like, I'll just tell you this. If the Lakers win, it's because Anthony Davis finally reached the potential that everyone wanted him to have and he stayed healthy. Like, they're not winning if it's not. And if Davis is there, the only way they're winning is if he puts up these numbers. And Davis was the one getting MVP consideration when he had that stretch earlier this season. Like, Davis is the one putting up those numbers. LeBron, it's an age thing. With age, you don't lose your fastball, you lose your consistency. LeBron will have great games in the finals if they make it, but he won't have as many. Davis will have more. So to me, Davis is the better value because as much as voters want to reward him, they know that like LeBron's got him. Like, LeBron, they don't need to reward LeBron. They doesn't have this.
He doesn't have a conference finals MVP. We only have that for 1 year. Sure. Like everything you said is right. Everything is absolutely right. It's all very logical. It's LeBron. Throw the logic out the window. LeBron gets the trophy.
My best bet is Devin Booker finals MVP plus 1,900. Been wanting to bet this. Talked about it weeks ago. Booker's is going to get overshadowed until we actually get there, and it's going to be like Book had 35 and 8. Like his assist numbers skyrocketed in the games with KD because he's able to be playmaker and engine. He'll stagger with the second unit. He'll play more with the starters without KD because they're actually having KD in that second unit right now. That may change. Booker is more of an engine than KD is. It's not that KD's not a good passer. I think he's really underrated in that respect, but Devin's better. Chris is taking a step back. Devin's taking a step up. He is leveled up. Booker is on that level. I've been skeptical of Devin Booker, but he started turning me around 3 years ago. And then it was like, well, he's this level. And I was like, well, okay, I'm going to back off. He's that level now. If the Suns win, I think you genuinely are going to see like, wow, Devin Booker was the most impactful guy in that series. You know, KD averaged 29, but Devin had that massive game 6 with 40 points and 8 assists. And his assist numbers are better and he shot better from the field. Devin Booker plus 1,900, I think is great value for a long shot finals MVP right now. If you want to hear more about the NBA playoffs, make sure to check out Buckets. Appreciate you guys listening to us. Make sure to check out all those things. Rate, review, and subscribe the Action Network podcast. And download the Action Network app for continuing coverage of the NBA playoffs. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys again next time. Till then, let's get buckets.